Hey there, welcome back to Game Design Speedrun. I'm Keith D. Franks III. If you caught us last time, we spent 1 hour 55 building a game from scratch, all the way up to a playable prototype. It's called Warlords at Washington. Make sure you go and check out that video if you haven't already. This is going to be running by basically the same format. I actually got an email from one of my royalty-free art websites, and they had just put up a whole bunch of Chinese New Year styled art stuff. So what we're going to try and do today is, using just this, we're going to try and make an entire game from just this. I haven't really prepared anything, to a playable prototype. That's it, that's the whole thing, and hopefully be slightly faster than we did in the last video. Now, the first thing we're going to do is set up the card template. Same as before, it is using the Game Crafter size, 750. Trying to talk to you and do maths at the same time. It's a bit difficult. This is 1050, so it's 825 by 1125 with a 75 books of bleed on each side. And if we have a look back over here, these two both look like a pretty much already done card border, except we're going to have a little bit of a problem with the bleed area. So what I might do is, that's a little bit, yeah, okay. Let's fit this on the screen. So we've also got an interesting light contrast going on here, where it's darker at the bottom and lighter at the top. But what I'm going to first try and do is get the trusty clone stamp. I need it to be over here. Try and extend these lines. It has a little wave in it. It's going to look so messy, isn't it? Because of the little alcove thing in there. Let's undo all the clone stamp stuff. It won't go that far back. Alright, let's delete this layer and try again. Fit this back into here. Try this again. Use them long lines to try and do it. And then you should be able to get all the way down for the most part. Like it's gonna, let's try to make it really hard to like properly clone stamp anything. Okay. Don't have to delete the whole thing again. Alright. Let's have a look at how bad it is when we just put it like this. So the bleeder actually cuts off the whole border. The border is unfortunately 75 pixels wide, which isn't great, but maybe we can kind of tile it on top of each other here, like this. Does that look terrible? Doesn't look great. I don't know how much I like that. Maybe we delete the outside part and keep the inside part, or the other way around. Maybe we come back to that. Let's get rid of this entirely. We'll come back to that picture later. What we do have is this one as well, which is similar. But what we could do is, because we're going to be having these animals are going to be the focal point of what basically the characters in this game, right? We also have like this, which is some cool cloth pattern with a bunch of different objects in it that I could use as symbols or something, which could be cool as well somewhere. But like I kind of want to get this working, right? So probably the first thing is to get rid of this in the center, or like move it somehow. Let's get rid of the fireworks. I'm just gonna completely erase it. Because there's like a nice little texture. This I should actually be able to fix with a clone stamp. Yeah, I wouldn't notice a thing. That's much better. Alright, so go rid of the fireworks. Let's see if I can layer by copy. Get rid of this magic wand. Okay, now we have a lantern that we can use as a symbol for something. That's not so bad. Let me bring this back. Hide the lantern we just made. Delete the lantern we left behind. And then tidy up the whole thing with a clone stamp. Okay. Should be alright to go left to right. I don't accidentally bump. Go too high. Because the texture is really, really small, you shouldn't be able to notice too much. You shouldn't be able to notice too much. Okay, so alright, let's bring this in a little bit because we want to have a little bit of a border, right? It's like this maybe, and then the rest kind of extends to the edge. It's just gonna stretch it basically to how it would have been otherwise. That's not really what I wanted. That's okay. Let's not worry about the bleed area for right now. Let's forget about it. Like if you're printing this at home, you're gonna be using scissors to cut along wherever the outside is anyway. So let's stop wasting time worrying about that. So we have this cool lantern, awkward little shadow along one side that I might tidy up later. It's a little bit big, make it a little bit smaller. And it fits nicely on that line. Okay, so let's bring in some of the animals. So I'm going to do this and these together make the card border. And then we're going to go back to here. I've like preemptively named it Fortunes, just so that I had a folder to put it in. Alright, so we have a whole bunch of different things here. I think we just want to pick them out one at a time and then make different layers with them. So let's pick up, get the funky lasso, try and cut them out. Okay, layer by copy, we've got one. Actually, if I rasterize, I can just layer by cut. That's alright. We've got that guy. I can just like so. Oops. I did just cut it in half. Did I? No, I did not just cut it in half. Okay. I don't know how that worked well, but alright. This is an easy cut. We've got no this one. This looks like an easy cut also. Cool. Now I'll pick them all up and resize them after that. Alright, let me cut. Okay. this guy. It's a bit trickier. There we go. We're going to need to find a way to either make each individual animal roughly the same size, or like have a group, have like there's a few chickens or something. Pig. Cut down the pig. Again, the idea behind this is that it's a speed run. That's why I have really large actions per minute right now. So in the last one, the idea was that I kind of walked into it wanting to do a tug of war mechanic, right? Is that all the animals? Is that everyone? Okay. And for this one, I want to do something similar to the pick up the deck. So it's like, you know, like when you have like a discard pile, and people throw out stuff in the discard pile, and you're like, oh, I might want to get this one thing that I want, but I have to pick up the whole discard pile as a punishment, and you're trying to get rid of cards in your hand, or what have you. Okay, so we've got this one. So we're going to have a text box, which might be roughly here. It's going to hang over a little bit, so I might see about resizing that one later, but we'll see how the other ones go. This guy a bit bigger. Is that super pixelated? No, it's just the preview. Excellent. This guy also a bit bigger. Such gorgeous art. Whoever's done a very good job. Unfortunately, it's come up as royalty-free stuff, so it means that we can do it. We can make a board game out of this stuff. The idea behind the speedrun challenge is that all the art, all the assets and stuff are free, because most of my real game design projects, the time spent waiting is for the artists to go through and illustrate everything. For this one, I might actually make a few chickens, right? So, 3 chickens. Let's turn this one around like this. And this one, and then make that one picture. And so I'm doing this set. This is not ordinarily something I would pick. I tend to prefer fantasy kind of stuff. But the beauty of this was that the whole set is like all there. Everything like fit the theme all together, and so it's basically chosen for me. It made it a lot easier and will save a lot of time. With the last one, the Smithsonian was like, hey, here's a collection of stuff that we've got. Most of the good stuff, because a lot of it was just like sketches and charcoal drawings and stuff. A lot of the good stuff was portraits, really high quality portraits painted by people, which was really easy to work with. This is something a bit more abstract, which I'm enjoying. This is cool. So I'm going to turn them off for a second. We're going to have a look at what this was. So this was one of the other things that popped up. And this could be our symbols for stuff that we use. Like we've got these 3 different things. This could work really well as something. This could also work really well as something. So they could be like suits, which could work really well. I might have to resize them. Could go in on top of the lantern. The lantern could be like a backing for it. So let's cut some of these out. Rasterize the layer. Like a magic wand. Love this tool. It saves me a lot of time. Perfect. So let's grab this layer by cut. That's going to be our first one. Free transform. platform. It needs to be a little bit smaller. It's going to fit on the lantern. There you go. First one. And we'll hide that. Now I want to get my binoculars out so I can get these tiny little red bits. Ooh, look at that click accuracy. Oh, it's going to be a great speedrun. Let's cut this out. If I cut, just hide this for a second while I resize this. So that big long string is going to hang over the edge quite a bit. So I know it's really not cool to cut a whole part out of the art like this, but if it was a bit more central, it'd be easier. So we have that. Now I probably need a way to make these a bit easier to see. Actually, probably can be a bit bigger and a bit easier to spot. That's a bit better. That doesn't seem too bad. We have the clouds. Use this to cut them out. Okay. How's that go? Not great. Make it a little smaller, but that's a bit better. That does mean that with the bleed, it's going to get like completely cut off. So making print and play files myself, you're putting out a whole A4 page, right, and then cutting along the lines. Then this is fine. Submitting it to something like the Game Crafter, where those outer blue lines are, will just get completely cut off. So usually I make an inner border and then have a border in there and then put everything inside. For this, I'm not going to bother. This is not going to make it to the Game Crafter. And then we get the third one, and I kind of want this in the middle. So I'm going to magic wand some more of this away. That's not going to be noticeable. And we'll grab this. So we haven't even done any game design yet. This is all graphic design so far. Let's delete this. That'll come soon. We're getting there. Getting pretty close. Okay, so we've got four colors if we're playing Uno, right? 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm not going to name everything, it's abstract, right? The players can call it whatever they want to call it. Which I think is half the fun of the abstract. So we come back and we have our characters, and then the characters is going to be, each of them is going to be unique. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. So that doesn't quite divide into 18 like I'd like. But this doesn't necessarily have to be an 18 card game. I think that's like the threshold for like minimum components that these runs should be done by. The last one had a board and 24 cards, I think, 25. This I'm going to try and aim for a similar benchmark. So far I don't think there's going to be a board, but there might be. What I am going to do is, just like last time, I'm going to bring up a text document. I'm going to make some notes on what the rules are going to be. So the first thing we know is there is 4 unique suits, and I'm spelling it wrong, but it's just so I can tell it apart. That's right, it's Control Plus. Make this really big so you can see it in the video. Okay, so there's we have 4 unique types of cards, right? So to use Treachery the Paper Fox, one of my previous games, as a reference here, it's pretty similar. It's an origami theme and it has 4 different animals that you can collect. Gull, fox, duck, frog. I think there's more than that. Anyway, and then there's 4 different colors of paper lantern, and you're trying to either collect 4 of an animal or 4 of a paper lantern, and this could be something similar to that. But what would be a cool idea is if all the cards had like no text on them. It was all kind of like just the character depicted, and then you had a reminder card that told you what everything did. And I know on the outset that seems really terrible, but if imagine like a combo system, right? Now, if anyone played the PlayStation 1 game Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, come on, like I know, it had this cool system in it where you'd have your card, like all the cards in your hand, and you could just pick any of them at and in an order, and then what the game would try and do was it would fuse them together, and there'd be like 1,000 pre-existing recipes, and if you put 2 particular things together, it would make something slightly better. And a lot of the gambling that you did in your hand was like, do I remember what the recipe is for this good thing? Can I just put a bunch of stuff together? Is this thing junk and therefore would make something else better if I put them together? And I think I want to build something similar to that, where there's a bunch of different ways to interact with stuff, and playing 2 cards together gives you one effect. Playing 3 cards together gives you a better effect, and what you're trying to do is find the combo of cards that wins you the game. So that means we're going to have cards in hand, amount, oops, I pressed the button I shouldn't have, there we go. Drawing cards per turn, victory condition, combos, right? So that means we'll have like a really descriptive thing. Doing some quick maths, to have one character in each suit, and we said there was what, 12 different ones, means that there's already 48 cards. Is 48 cards. That's like quite a big game, right? Do we want a tableau maybe, right? Like Castles of Calera, my first Kickstarter game, is a tableau builder. I basically love the tableau builder. And in this, if we're going to have 48 cards in the deck, a tableau builder might work a bit better, because it might say this particular combination of cards in your tableau is this particular win condition, or this suit requires this clause for you to win, or whatever. Your pseudo set, like one of them might be set collecting, one of them might be make the deck run out, one of them might be your opponent has to have no cards in hand, something like that. So each unique combo. So if we're looking at 48 cards, no board, that's not so bad, right? So we're gonna go each unique animal combination is a few different ones, just pairs. There's a lot of entries on a reminder card, so it might need to be a double-sided reminder card, or 2 reminder cards, or a few reminder cards per person. Now, when I started making stuff, I made some really complicated games like Spirits of Card Mansion, which does not have a reminder card and has 18 unique cards. And every step of the game, you're required to know what every single card does. Like, it has sort of a lot, but it doesn't have reminder cards. So that this could potentially have multiple reminder cards per person is a big deal. I'll get hassled about it later, I promise. But then we also have each unique suite, like a suit combination, or maybe when you're playing stuff, adding it to your tableau or discarding it, you know. Are we building a tableau, or are we draw, discard? What are we doing here? We still don't know yet. Yeah, discarding suites do something. Like maybe it's draw 2 cards, add 1 card to your tableau, discard any number of cards from your hand, right? And then and some things make you draw cards, some things make you interact with the deck. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options there. Maybe we secretly choose a suite at the start. I need to like pick a different word because I say it differently every single time. At the start to determine a victory condition. Maybe. Equals question mark. That means maybe. So that's a lot of ideas to start with, right? And that means that if we're just going with text cards and just a reminder card, that means that these all, I mean, like I think reserve space now for something, which is interesting. I could add something ornate there as part of the card border, right? So I've got the land at the top, which accompanies that, but that's where this could come in, maybe. The fireworks or something. Maybe. Let's put something decorative there, you know, like something, I butchered that. Something here, decorative, that could go nicely. I'm trying to think how it would fit. Like this, but if I picked this, I'd have to cut it in half, which I don't know that I'm super keen on doing. It's really the right size. It looks quite nice. Let's do that. Someone's probably going to harass me in the comments about this later. Cut the middle parts out. A little janky. But what we're going to do is we're going to erase just kind of around. Oh, that was really close. And then I can just kind of lasso away what I don't need. There's something there I missed. Delete. And then I can just take the box tool and then lay this white cut and delete the rest. It does look like it's cut out quite terribly. That hides some of it. Not great. That's not great. Well, another thing I could do to compensate for how terribly I've cut it out. Here looks like a good enough spot. Is grab a section. Delete this. Grab this little red section. It's going to go underneath in a second, but I'm going to just kind of tile it along like this. Random line here just showed up and is now gone. This a smart object. Grab these two things, bring them down here. That's the wrong spot. Bring them down here. This needs to go underneath. This needs to go underneath everything. Okay, not quite everything. Oh, maybe. I forgot this isn't transparent. That's okay. I'm gonna grab this. Try and select this box. Do a little trick here. I don't think that worked. I think I was supposed to play by cut. I think I did that incorrectly. That's okay. improving. Also not much better. Okay. I'm wasting so much time on this little part. It's really not great. Yes, much tool, but like just on the edges, it looks really jagged. I think I messed that up. You won't even notice. Because the really jagged pixelated stuff looks really obvious, but slight smudge and you can't really tell. Look at that. A lot less jarring. I'm just putting it out, it's going to be tiny anyway. I really only notice it because I've really pointed it out, but it looks a bit smoother. Oops. And comes across a bit of an inlay rather than, I think it's not so bad, right? Anyway, okay, so that's our border. And then I'm going to have to export each one of these, which I'll start doing in a second, but actually no, I'll do it now. I'll do that all now. Okay, so new folder on computer. Cards. So, first one. Cards 1. Now I'm just going to do it this way so I can just count to 48. It really doesn't need a name. 3. 4. Come back up to 1. Let's put him at the top so I don't accidentally do that one again. Alright. 5. This is another one of those really long processes, but, and I mean, like, I know for a fact there's faster ways to do this. Functionally, I have to follow this loop 48 times. Check that. Okay. So all the cards are done, and we still have like no idea what it does yet, which is part of the challenge, right? So basically, what's next is to figure out exactly what these reminder cards are going to look like. I think I'm going to be using the template again. And we're going to be finding combos of the different animals. 19. And then what they're going to do. Like it might be this and this means draw a card or something, you know. And then the way that your tableau is built versus what you're discarding. Like, it's going to be like a really elaborate pass the pigs at this point, where even though there is few components, there's a lot of combos, right? This is going to have like the biggest learning curve ever. It's super overwhelming for new players, but the idea was to build something, not to build something good, not to build something easy, to build something going through them pretty quickly. 35, 6. And if you remember a second ago, we had this big dragon, and the big dragon took up quite a bit of space. It's still a problem I have to fix. That's okay. You might just be able to tuck under a little bit at the bottom. It might not look too bad. I might resize it. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. 43. 44. And yes, this is how I actually do it in real life. Okay, let's resize this guy. Doesn't look like heaps worse. Yep. 45. 46. So people that are wondering how I'm doing this so quickly, when you click Save As, 47, it automatically loads up the file name. You can then press Tab, which takes you to the format. Pressing J makes it JPEG because it's sorted that way. And I hit Enter twice, basically the whole thing. And because my computer's pretty quick, my computer handles it pretty quickly, which is nice. Okay, so I'm going to save this whole PSD, but not in the cards folder, up here somewhere. Okay, and I'm going to make a new one. Okay, fit on screen. I need to add my guides again. 750, cool. I really want this just to be the card back. I really like it, but mostly because of the brightness gradient, it's a bit too hard to use. But this, however, is really nice. I can use it quite easily. Just stretch it out. Get rid of this. I need this. I'm going to delete. This keeps a little firework. Put it up in the corner. Move it away from that little brightness, from that little drop shadow, otherwise it'll really show up. And then delete this. And quickly fill in this. Just so it has that nice same little texture. Okay, so the first thing, I should open that so I can cut stuff like this. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out what these do when played. So let's just place them all here. And the reason why I saved, not aiming for perfect, we're aiming for done, which is something that more people should do in their design philosophy. Because after playtesting, after it hits a retail environment, or blind testing, and all this stuff happens you didn't even realize existed, you're gonna be like, what am I doing here? What, all these things that I thought were easy are actually really complicated, you have to change it all anyway. The idea is just for this to be a playable prototype. The game exists as a proof of concept. It can be printed out by people and it can be played, and then if they want, they can house rule stuff. I might come back to the project and work on whatever. 41 minutes on the clock. We are doing well to be in front of our 1 hour 55 benchmark set by Warlords of Washington. So we've got our 4 unique crests. We did it. 4 unique crests and a keyword now. So what I might do is put these in a group, do the thing that I said I was going to do in the last video and didn't, and drop shadow the whole folder so that I don't have to do them individually. Look a bit better like this. So I'm thinking our combos do stuff when discarded. Our crests do stuff while they're in the tableau. So when you're in the okay, so it makes me think of something. Phases of play, right? So phase 1, draw cards. Draw discard, question mark. One of the original concepts I have, I don't know if we're keeping that or not. Phase 2, add a single card to tableau. Phase 3, discard any combination of cards. It might have to be draw cards up to X. Discard any combination of cards. Resolve effects. Check for victory conditions, right? So this is how we did it in the last game, where having a resolve effects step means that people aren't like, when can I do things, right? If you just follow the steps of your turn, you'll be doing things when it says to do things. Probably there should be a 2.5 resolve tableau effects, but we don't know what the tableau effects are yet. So we might end up coming back and adding it then. So if we implement a hand size, it could be draw cards up to hand size. So let's say the hand size is 3. You draw up to your 3 cards, and you then decide, okay, I can add 1 card to my tableau, which might be building towards my victory condition. Like that might be a set collecting thing. I might be looking for all of this first crest, right? So I want to I have one of them. I'm going to add it to my tableau. It's going to do this for me, and then I get to discard any combination of cards, which could be 1, could be 2, whatever. Right? I could neglect to add a card to the tableau, maybe. And then when I discard that combination of cards, the reminder card, which we're going to make in a second, is going to tell us what. It's going to tell us what those cards do, because each combination of cards of the character, not the crest, will have a different effect. This is going to be similar to my other game, Wingfalls of the Dusk, where every single card had a different scoring condition, and you're building a garden, right, which is sort of like a tableau in a few different directions. You can add stuff next to each other, and one of the scoring conditions might be there's a pair of something in the grid, in the garden. So this might be something similar to that. We're basically going, okay, I have this card, I'm checking, do I meet its conditions, or do I want to have these effects, or I know I'm adding this to my tableau, what do these other 2 cards do when discarded together? Which I think would be interesting. It might be everything plus a donkey is draw a card, but it might be dragon plus every single thing is something different. And it might be the card, when you discard them, it might be like card 1, card 2, and the card 2 changes what it does. Man, this is going to have the PhD to play this game at this rate. But that's fine. So the first thing we need to do is each crest determines our win condition, right? So that comes back to secretly choose a crest at the start to determine a victory condition, not secretly choose. Each crest determines a victory condition. Each crest present in your tableau means something different. Okay, so we're going to go and make the victory conditions. So, come back to this for a second. Whichever crest is most present in your tableau determines your victory condition. So you could change. You go, okay, I have 2 of the first one. I don't think I can meet that condition. For the next 3 turns, I'm going to start collecting the second one instead and switch, pivot in the middle of it, which could work. So the first one, crane, have to make that much bigger. Yeah. The victory condition is going to be there are no cards in the deck. I know I have a typo there, and I need to change the font. There are no cards in the deck. So for Magic Plays, that's mill. I'm going to quickly go to 1001fonts.com and find a font that suits this a bit better. No. And they're all terrible. Wow. Okay, the key words I used are not very good. Okay. Wow, I regret doing that already. Okay, I'm just going to use Caslon Antique because I like that font. And I tried a few words that may have matched our theme here, and they all returned highly stereotyped things that I do not like the look of. So our crest for the first one is the victory condition is going to be there are no cards in the deck, so there's going to be a shared draw pile, 48 cards, which both players will draw from, and there will be a shared discard pile, and each player will have their own tableau. If you have the most of the first crest in your tableau, your victory condition is to empty the cards in the deck. Now this tells us that we will need a combo. So down here, combo notes. Item 1, discard cards from the deck. Okay, so we're going to need something that will perform that function for us. Okay, so this one, the 3 clouds, I'm guessing, gives me a set collecting field just by looking at it. So I'm thinking it could be something like get all 4 of a single animal in your tableau, because there's only 4 of each one. So get all 4 of each animal into, maybe I don't even get 4 of the same animal. I mean, yeah, sure. In your tableau. Now deck should be capitalized as well. These are keywords. Keywords need to be capitalized. 4 of the same animal in your tableau. So if I have 4 dragons, for example, in the tableau, and I have the most clouds. Now, if you're collecting 4 of the same animal, that means you're going to have 1 of each crest. So that means you need to have 2 clouds and 1 of each animal, which means you need minimum 5 cards. But finding them is going to be hard. So there might be a combo note where you retrieve a card from the discard pile. Okay. Now this one I like, and we're going to say 12 cards in your tableau. Now this might mean 12 turns, which is very slow and could be very bad. But if we add a card that says add extra cards to your tableau, then you can make it faster, and that's not bad. So the way that the combos of the different animals could work is that, for example, dragon might mean draw cards, right? And then dragon plus chicken might mean draw a card from the discard pile. Or plus snake might mean draw 2 cards, something, right? And you're trying to make those special combos happen. 2 dragons might be draw 3 cards or something. Discard cards. Put lots of cards in the bin, something like that. So we might need a key mechanic per animal, right? So they don't seem so ridiculously wild. But we'll come back to that in a second. Because you might just like list some potential ones, and then we'll go and make the reminder card for that. And then we need our 4th Crest victory condition. So this is where I brick and I get like really bad writer's block or something, and then you will hate me forever. And I go over time. I still have like a whole hour left though, by the way. So we're collecting stuff. We might make it so that it's so I'm currently thinking removing cards from the discard pile. There could be exile, return to the box for a lot of board games. So exile is the keyword that Magic the Gathering use, which means removed from the game. So there could be a keyword that says removed from the game. The problem is that directly conflicts with 4 of the same animal in your tableau. However, if an animal that you're collecting gets removed from the game, you can return it to the deck, collect a different animal. So move a card from the game, and then there's several different zones to choose from, right? And then return a card from outside the game. And just those two have like a lot of different zones to choose from. So there's 48 cards. We're going to say 20. No, let's say 15. 15 cards removed from the game. Okay, so that's our first reminder card. So that's cards. This is called Crests, so it doesn't get confused amongst all the numbers. Okay, so I can now group this, hide these. So we've now got to do the next thing, which is start with the animals. So I might just grab the source, recut them out, but like small. Because there's 11, I might only fit 5, and then make 2 reminder cards per person. So you get to see me cut it out at lightning speed once more. It's a bit bigger, so it's a bit easier for me to cut. Okay, I need to do this so I can later cut and hide that. Come back here. I know that I've done this already, and it's going to take up a little bit of time, but I think it's just as long copying them one by one from the other document where I've done it already. I'm pretty quick at it. I understand if you're watching this video, you're like, oh man, I wish you would say something interesting, like ever. All he does is sit here and cut out pictures, like this is arts and crafts, you know, which I do a lot of actually. lot of my building prototype work is like scissors, glue, cardboard, paper. Come to enjoy. I'm in the wrong layer. Okay. Cutting that one a little close. That's alright. So the idea in this series is to slowly get a better time, right? Like the game complexity has to reach a certain amount. You know, I'm not gonna just redesign Uno 100 times and be like, yeah, it was really quick, you know. I want to like approach, like the idea behind this is that I am bettering myself as a creator because I am sharpening these skills, right? Putting challenges on myself so that I can be better. Let's make him really small. I should be able to fit 5 of them on here. So I want it to be not impossible, but not unfeasible. I don't know if that's too small to see. Some of the graphic design work, which I'll admit is not my area of expertise. Oops. People who own copies of Castle of Calera can take one look at the rulebook and be like, this is not Keith's strong suit of graphic design. There's a few problems with it that I'm not very happy about, but I can't fix it now. Okay, so we've got our first 5, and that means I'm going to need to cram 6 onto the second one, 7 onto the second one. I need to put another one in here. I'm going to lose a little bit of that. Oops, wrong layer. I'm going to lose a little bit of that free space that I just made. That's okay. Oh, that's okay. Alright. So the dragon, I think I need to make the dragon smaller again. It's just so big. So big. A little bit. Pig is also quite large. That's okay, they'll seem to fit quite nicely like that. I might get rid of the firework for this one. Okay. Just seeing what I'm seeing. I'm actually pretty happy with how this looks from a distance, right? Like, so I'm thinking holding the card in your hand is going to be pretty cool. Anyway, excuse this minor interruption. Okay, so I was getting rid of the firework. Let's just clone stamp. You wouldn't even know it was there. Alright, so first thing is we're going to bring a line over, put it here. Okay, so the first lot, that should be on this side actually. Key mechanic per animal. So dragon. I'm probably getting completely wrong with what these are, but this is just what is easiest for me to quickly note them as. So we want to pick a category for each animal to use. So when someone sees a dragon card, like, okay, all dragon cards mean draw cards. So dragon plus something is going to mean draw cards in some fashion. But then I've got a lot, right? And I've got a few options already here to get started with. So let's make pig discard cards. Rabbit can be retrieve cards from discard. Or just retrieve cards, right? Because it might be from outside the game. Monkey will be outside the game. That's it. Monkey just leaves the game. Mouse. So we've got retrieve cards, outside the game, discard cards. I'll probably want to try to stick with the draw cards from my example earlier. Let's make Tiger opponent. So all of the cards with a tiger are going to be like take that or PvP or something like that. And the mouse can be tableau, and then I'll have to, think of another 6 in a second, but this is a good start. I'm just going to move this off the screen so I can use it as a reference and still see what I'm doing. So there's going to be, doing it this way, there's going to be 4 different reminder cards. So I'm going to need to put this in a group, duplicate the group, and close all these. So what it looked like was nothing. It was actually really helpful. So I do have to resize these still, but I'm going to start with the bottom ones that I've already sized, right? So there's actually going to be so many reminder cards, thinking of it now, but we'll get to that in a minute. This is the weight of the game, right? So I have to be able to meet this terrible brief that I've built. So Dragon is draw cards. So, sorry, Dragon is draw cards. So Dragon is going to be draw lots of cards. So draw 3 cards. Is card 1. So I'm not against going above your maximum hand size, because in phase 1, at the beginning of your turn, it's draw cards up to X. So if our hand size is 3, person ends their turn with more than 3 cards, then that's fine. They might be discarding a lot of them. I think the combination, any combination cards should be like maximum 2. But if you discard 4 cards, it will be 2 sets of 2, which means you would get the extra effects, which is fine. And currently, according to the phases of play, you're drawing cards, adding cards to your tableau, and then discarding any combination of cards, and then resolving any effects. So drawing a lot of cards means that next turn, you're going to be doing stuff. You're not going to be able to use them straight away. I should have made one of the crests like have 10 cards in hand or something. Anyway, so Tiger is opponent. So like Tiger Pig is going to be opponent, discards a card. What would opponent be? Maybe like steal a card from your opponent's hand. Take a card from your opponent's hand at random. What I am going to do is make a new group for these. Didn't come with it. There we go. For the text. So the text isn't in the images groups. Mouse is tableau. So mouse is going to be add an extra card from just straight up add a card from your hand. It means you didn't have an extra card, you know, I won't do anything. Add a card, add the top card of the deck to your tableau. And then this will be really good for the lots of cards in my tableau win condition. Pig. So Pig is discard cards. We want it to be discard cards from the deck, not from our hand. Pig Tiger is discard cards from our opponent. Pig Mouse might be discard cards from your opponent's tableau. Scary. But Pig is going to be put the top 5 cards of the deck into the discard pile. And then Monkey. So Monkey is outside the game. So Monkey is probably you trying to put as many cards into the outside of the game as you can. So we're gonna go Monkey, put the top, remove the top 5 cards of the deck from the game. So Pig, should be more than 5. Let's make this 7. So the binning, the crest where you bin all the cards is 48. And then Monkey is, the remove the cards from the game one is much less. Is much less, is 15. And Monkey, which could only potentially come up twice, is 10. Even organically, without like returning them to your hand and doing more. And it's like a low chance. It's like 4 in 48 to see a Monkey at all. So I don't think that's too overpowered. Now we have Rabbit, which is retrieve cards. So I'm going to make Rabbit, put cards in your hand. Put 3 random cards from this card into your hand. We have now created Reminder Card 1. File, save that. Reminder 1. I'm also assuming this is a 2-player game so far, but this could be a 4-player game probably with the number of cards that we have involved, which sounds pretty interesting. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hide this one. Alright, so I'm going to keep a list of combos done. Dragon, Tiger, Mouse, Pig, Monkey, Rabbit. Typo there. It's time to Rabbit twice. And then if I come to this one, I grab all of these, I just slot it down one. And I go and grab Rabbit and put it at the top. Come back to our text. Just hide these, right? So we come back to our thing. So Dragon, draw cards. Rabbit, retrieve cards. So it's going to be draw the top card of the discard pile, which has been uncapitalized until now. It's going to be really awkwardly open to interpretation. Is it the top card before I discard these? Whichever card I put on top, is that going to be the top one? And the ruling is, whatever, figure it out yourselves at home. People are going to argue over that, like regardless. I have to like word it so specifically. I don't think the game, like, it's already too complicated. I don't think it needs that. So the next one is Tiger Dragon. So Tiger is opponent and Dragon is draw cards. So our opponent draws cards. Choose an opponent to draw 2 cards from the deck. Need to fix that one, so let's choose an opponent, but it's too late. Too late. That can be ambiguous. Awkwardly. That's fine. Mouse tiger. So that's opponent tableau. So we're going to go return a card from an opponent's tableau to their hand. Okay, then we've got pig mouse, which is discard cards from the tableau. Discard a card from your tableau. Now this looks bad, but remember the most of which crest is present in your tableau is the victory condition you're chasing. So if you're trying to pivot, you go, oh, I have 3 of one and 2 of another. If I bin one of the ones that's a 3, it's going to be easy to get the other one to 3 rather than play 2 to get above it. So this is actually not a terrible card combo. Monkey pig. So monkey is outside the game and pig is discard cards. So we're gonna go remove the top 3 cards from the discard pile from the game. I can't spell the to save my life from the game. I need to move this. There we go. Just so I can see the timer, I'm down to 40 minutes to go. Rabbit monkey. So rabbit is retrieve cards, monkey is outside the game. So from the game and shuffle them into the deck. I make this 3. So this is interesting because it slows down the person that's trying to empty the entire deck, which so far appears to be the most difficult one. And it slows down the person that is trying to get everything in exile. Yes. Okay, hide these. So the rest of the combos time. So dragon, rabbit, tiger, dragon, mouse, tiger, pig, mouse, monkey, pig, rabbit, monkey. So there's already 12 combos. Quickly. So we're going to come back to this. I'm going to grab all these. We're going to move it down one more. I'm going to grab the monkeys at the bottom and put them at the top. Just like that. Okay, so dragon is draw cards, monkey is outside the game. Put a card into your hand from that has been removed from the game. Easy. Tiger, opponent, rabbit, retrieve cards from the discard pile into an opponent's tableau. Really need a proofreader for all of this. Mouse, dragon. So mouse's tableau, dragon is draw cards. Put a card from your tableau into your hand. Pig, tiger. Pig is discard cards, tiger is opponent. Each opponent discards a card. Monkey, mouse. So mouse is tableau, monkey is outside the game. Add a card to your tableau from cards that have been removed from the game. Really trying to not have 3 lines of text for everything, but that's okay. Rabbit, pig. Discard cards, retrieve cards. Discarded card to your hand. Should be some overlap, right? Save as line 4. Imagine teaching this game to someone for the first time and you're like, these are all the cards. It just has an animal on it. It's really easy. There's dragon, there's monkey, there's pig, and they're like, cool, what do they do? Here's the 16 reminder cards that are just for you that tells you what all of the cards do. Oh my god, you know. I am thinking already about cutting back the scale because just with the 6 animals that we have is already a greater many number of combinations than I anticipated. So it might mean that we cut 6 animals, which puts us down to 24 cards, and then we just make like an extra copy, like a double all of them, which isn't terrible either. Get rid of these, minimize this for a second, come back to group 3 copy, grab all these, move them down 1, grab the pig, put the pig up here. Okay. Dragon, pig. So draw cards, discard cards. Draw the top card of the discard pile. Tiger, monkey. Opponent outside the game. You out. Choose an opponent to remove a card in their hand from the game. That needs to be an extra line. Stop. Okay. Mouse, rabbit. So tableau, retrieve cards. Wait a minute. Mouse, tiger, pig, mouse. I haven't done mouse, rabbit yet, but it feels similar to something I've already done. Mouse, rabbit is tableau, retrieve cards. So it might be add a card from the discard pile to your tableau. Pig, dragon. Discard cards, draw cards. Okay, monkey, tiger. So monkey's out of the game, tiger's opponent. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Oh no. I've now realized what the problem is. Dragon, rabbit, and rabbit, dragon. Are they going to be different? Monkey, pig, pig, monkey. No. So only half of these matter, I suppose, right? So it's these 3 and these 3, and then that. I really don't want to add ordering. That's just gonna like make it twice as hard for no reason. Tiger, monkey, mouse, rabbit. Now there's another 6. Another 6 things. So there's only 5 reminder cards per person. That's not that bad, right? Right. Okay. I'm okay with that. I think scaling back here is going to be better. Alright, so I'm going to save this reminder 5 because just with these ones there's 5 reminder cards and this is half of them. So this is half of them, and then there's another 3 parts to that, right? So there's the 6 we haven't used, right? And then together is another 2, which means each person would need 20 reminder cards and 20, like, that's too much. Just in the reminder cards per person, that's 80 cards, which is more than the entire deck. And if I pitched a game to a publisher and it says, hey, this is my game, it's 108 cards, 128 cards, and 80 of them are reminder cards, they'd probably say no. So we're going to cut half the animals out. That seems like the much easier solution. So this is saved. I'm just going to save this as reminders. Yep. We're going to open up the folder, and all of this stuff, this is the top half, that makes it a lot easier. So everything from chickens and up, gone. So now we need to make just the doubles of all these, which is fine. They just go into the print and play sheet twice. From a distance, these actually look really nice. You know, like the art is gorgeous and the flat style goes really well. All of the art assets like look nice together, like, even though it's from a few different pieces, it all looks really nice together, which is quite cool. And I've actually really enjoyed playing in this space. So what's next? We now build the rulebook. No, internet. It's going to be an A4 sheet. Everything we do in this challenge is built in A4 sheets. So we don't have a name for the game yet. I put in fortunes, but I don't know if that really fits the spirit of this ridiculously complicated card game. I don't know. Probably something to do with our keywords, right? So we have Crest, and I used fortunes for whatever reason. Probably because I've been playing Teamfight Tactics, and all of the fortune champs have the Lunar New Year skins. Blame Riot Games. So I could do something like that, which isn't terrible. Let's come back to that, right? Let's not do that straight away. I'll have to think. First thing is set up. Zoom in some more. Put a guide in the center so we can make 2 rows, because I don't want it to be 2 pages. If that's 24, I want this to be 18. That's still too big. I want this to be 14. Shuffle the animal cards and place them face down in the center of the table in a pile. Each person receives 5 reminder cards. So there's 48 cards of the deck and 20 cards. So it's a 68 card game. Down from 128. I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. Each person receives 5 reminder cards Then randomly determine our starting player. Okay. Mustache just give me grief. So it's 2 to 4 players, probably 30 to 60 minutes, 14 plus pages. There's a big indent here, doesn't need to be that big. So whatever. It's probably not be so close, but that's okay. Alright. Is there anything else we need to do for the setup? I don't think so. Maybe discard the top card of the deck. Okay, yep, I need this. Then place the top card of the deck next to it, face up in a new pile. This becomes the discard pile. Alright. Gameplay. Starting with the first player. Each player takes turns, completing the following. Completing these actions in order as follows, right? Because we listed steps specifically of how we wanted it to be done. Alright, I'm closing in on my deadline too, so I've got to hurry this up. Phases, okay. Phases of play. So, step 1. I'm just going to list them as action 1, right? Action 1. Draw cards until you have 3 in hand. Action 2. Add 1 card to your tableau from your hand. Action 3. Discard any combination of cards. Basically, it's discard 2 cards, right? Because if you don't discard 2 cards, you don't get any effect. There's no single effect, right? Not great. Just not great. So on your turn, what you're doing isn't that complicated. You look at your 3 cards. You go, okay, I have these 3 crests. If I think I'm moving towards this condition, I want this crest, right? And then you're going to discard the other 2 cards. So when you look at the effect list, you're like, okay, if I want this crest, which is on a dragon card, then my other 2 cards, Big Monkey, is going to have this effect, basically. Or I don't want to do that effect. That doesn't help me with that like slows me down as my condition. Maybe I'll add something else to my tableau. Play the other 2 cards, because it helps my win condition. Whatever, that's the strategy part of it. Let me go, wrong enter. Action 4, resolve effects from discarded cards. Action 5, check victory conditions from Crest. I'm going to need to do a separate section on winning the game because there's a tiebreaker problem currently. When discarding cards, the 2 different animals combination of animals depicted determines the effect you will need to resolve. this list of effects is on the reminder cards. Each player has a tableau, which is a row of cards face up in front of them. Each player's crest is calculated by which crest symbol shows up in their tableau the most times. Okay. Winning the game. In the fifth action step, if a crest's victory condition is met, game ends and a winner is determined. If two players would win at the same time, the player whose turn it is currently, don't think that's supposed to be an apostrophe, whose turn it is currently breaks the tie. Other tiebreakers are determined by number of cards in the tableau, maybe? In a tableau of the crest type. Further ties are broken by number of cards in hand. Look, anything after that, just play rock, paper, scissors, because 3 steps to break ties is already so many. Ugh. And now this feels like it's the whole game, honestly. All the complicated part of it is in the reminder cards. And is not at all in the rule booklet. So what I'm gonna do is get rid of this guide, grab all of the text, move all of the text okay. I have regrets about that. I just want to move it in a little bit. And I go, when discarding cards, winning the game in the 5th action step. And then make this a second bit from here. Add a gap. And then grab everything. Move it over back. Yeah, okay, so this is going to be the top half, which is fine. Give myself some space for a title. Put this away. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the reminder cards in. Probably not humongously. Maybe just like this. So that on the rule sheet there is a reference for each one. I'll try and make it the same size. It's going to be really jarring if they're not aligned. And there's 2 more. Is that going to fit underneath? Surely. Just overlap a little bit. I'll move the whole thing up when I figure out how big the title is going to be. This is going to go here like this. Not too bad. Let's move this line. I'm going to make these all one object. So when I move it, it all moves together as a bunch. It's like a little bit crooked, but like I said, it's not supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to be playable. And now all that's left is to build the print and play sheets and come up with a title. I'm coming up on our deadline. We're at 1:36 and the deadline is 1:55 for me to beat my previous time. The goal of speedrunning board game design is to do better than the last one every single time. This one has definitely got much less wasted time, but I also cut half of the cards. So let's try and improve on that next time. Alright, so the title needs to be something about collecting crests, something about the animals, something about the new year. Like Crest of the Year doesn't sound too horrible. Crest of the Year? The most complicated game that could have been designed in 2 hours, Crest of the Year. Probably not that bad. Crest of the Year. Sure thing. Rather than me tossing and turning over it for 100,000 years, it has been decided. Alright, new folder, print and play. Come on. Come on. There we go. Print and play. So we save this as a Photoshop document. New. International paper A4. Make our guides for the cards. So 825. 1650. 2475. Okay. 125. 250. 3375. Let's start putting them in. So there needs to be double. So I'm going to just put in all the animals once, and I'm going to put in all the animals again. I need to put a guide at the edges also. Yeah. Cool. Alright, first one. Now each of the cards is unique, so I can't just like Control J my way through and copy them all. Which is not you know, great, but not the worst either. It's going to take too long. Import them all. Now I just have to collate it as a PNP and then that's it. I'm pretty sure we're ahead on time. Quite an amount. We didn't end up moving into that draw cards or pick up the whole deck thing that I had when I started, but this is something completely different. It feels pretty unique to me. I'm actually kind of keen to print this one out and give it a go. See how it fares. Okay, that's the first 8. This is the 9th. Okay, file. Save as. Page 1. There's a lot of this menial entry stuff. Now, if I was like, what's gonna happen is someone, probably another game designer, is gonna go, oh yeah, I could probably speedrun and do this faster using data merge. And they'd be correct, because this is pretty slow compared to that. And data merge lets you automate a lot of this kind of stuff. I understand that Component Studio can do a lot of this quickly too, but in the same way that people like to boot up their old console, you know, speedrun Crash Bandicoot 3 on PlayStation 1 rather than speedrun Crash Bandicoot 3 on the remastered trilogy on the PS4, is about the feel of it. And whilst using clunky Photoshop CS6 isn't, you know, all about the nostalgia, the feel of it, it happens to be where my skill set is. So that's what I use normally, you know. Back to the start. Bit time consuming. So that's page 3. So I feel like potentially it could be argued that building the print and play files isn't necessarily part of the game design bit, but the idea is that the start and end point are well defined, right? So the start point is you have a bunch of art assets, a bunch of free stock art assets. And the end point is a downloadable, playable prototype that doesn't just look like a pen on paper. Like, I've built games before where it's literally just scribble some notes onto a sheet, and when people play it, the way that they react to it is like, oh, this is just an idea, this isn't, you know, this isn't something serious or whatever, you know. I feel like they undervalue what it is. Whereas bringing out something like this, it's got art, it's color, it's got reminder cards, it's got a lot going on. People are a bit more like, wow, oh my god, you know, this looks cool. Did you make this yourself? You know? Do you illustrate all the stuff yourself? It's the like #1 question I get asked. Did you paint this? Well, no. Just because it's hanging in my house doesn't mean I painted it, you know. I pay people very good money to illustrate things for me because they are much more talented than me in that respect. I am damn proud of the work that they do. Whereas me, I just like cutting and moving things around in Photoshop, and it's about the width of my skill. Alright. 30 pages. Alright, page 5. Okay, group. Hide. There's 3 more cards, which are all dragons. And then we start on the reminder cards. Now the reminder cards I can just make copies of, which speeds things up a little bit. Fortunately. Get this one. So the cool thing is that your tableau doesn't, like, the cards don't have to be spread out to see the whole card. All you really need to see is the crest, so it won't take up that much table space. All the we need a 4 of. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to get 2 on one page and then 2 on the other. if you've like actually watched people do video game speedrunning, there comes a point where they like know they're getting to the end, which is usually the end credits for an any percent run, and they'll be like, get ready to stop the clock, you know. So that's what I'm approaching here, which is basically going to be collating the PDF using the automate function. It's like, alright, get ready to stop the clock. 7 pages. It's taking forever. 7 pages. Oh, how many of that last shrine card was there? 3. So I need one more here. Right, and then one more here. If I actually really wanted it, I could have made the rulebook have some of these really nice art assets. So it looks quite nice. Like that border would look really good. Like easily look really nice on there. We're actually coming up really close to the deadline. So PDF presentation, don't need notes, browse, all this. It's gonna be 9 pages. Save. In. Just have to go up. Here, PNP. And we called it Crest of the Year. Still not sold on the name, but it's whatever. Alright. I'm gonna be 8 minutes faster. That's it. It's done. I'll open it up so we can have a look. Alright, this is Crest of the Year. It's a little bit sloppy in some places, but that's alright. That's what the cards look like. It's a different crest, and it actually came out really nicely. Zooming in this much. Reminder card looks really neat. You know, easy to read. And the rulebook at the bottom, which looks like crap, but I spent an extra 8 minutes making it look nice. But like I said, it's about being done. It's not about being good looking. If I care about the game more later on, I'll come back to it and make it look better. If I have a plan to make a release or something like that. But if I was really going to push it to make a release, I'd pay for art to get it done. The whole point of this challenge is to take stock art. This one in particular, I just got an email that included this collection and it looks kind of cool. I wanted to put it all together. It turned out really well. We ended up knocking 8 minutes off our last time of 1:55, so 1:47 is going to be the time to beat for the next video. I thought it did really well. I wasted a lot of time making a whole extra series of cards I didn't need. I think I like scoped way too big at the start, and I should have seen that coming. But that's the thing, right? That's something to learn for the last time. Last time I spent all this time cutting out this dude's artwork, making a new background. I didn't use the background for anything. So I was going to be like, do I want this to be red or blue? Do I want, like, you know, have the same background for every single person? I couldn't make up my mind. But anyway, thanks for watching along. I hope this series of videos gives you some inspiration on being able to design games yourself. Gives you an insight on how I design games, and was somewhat entertaining. I know it is a long video to watch. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe. Put a comment with a lot of big love hearts on it so that I know that you enjoyed it. That kind of stuff is how I survive. I require your affirmations in order to live. And keep your eye out for the next videos. These are actually really fun to make for me. You'll find the download files for this game. I'll upload on my Patreon. It'll be in the video description underneath. So if you are actually keen to download and play the game and play test it, and then be in the comments like, Keith, this is so unbalanced. This game is garbage. Why did you, you know? Please do that also. I will be upset, but it's valid, you know. Anyway, go play my game, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Game Design Speedrun.